welcome back to my channel. My name is Shelby and today I'm going to be doing some romance recommendations. Today I have 5 single dad romances. I love me a hot single dad in romance. There's just something about single dads and single parents in romance that I just fall in love with. Especially now that I have kids, there's just something so sexy about a hot dad. As always, I will link all these books down below and let's get right into it. The first one I have is Single Dad Seeks Juliet by Max Monroe, and I read this at the end of 2020 and fell in love with this book. This is about our 2 main characters named Jake and Holly. Holly works for a newspaper. They do this thing every year where they do this bachelor contest where people write in, a bachelor is chosen, then women apply and they choose a ton of women for the guy to go on dates with, and at the end he chooses one of the ladies. And as it turns out, Jake has a daughter. She's like 17 years old, and instead of him applying, she applies for him, and the title of his ad is like Single Dad Seeks Juliet, and he has no idea that she applied and he ends up getting chosen. And so him and Holly like meet up together and he has no idea like what they're meeting for. Because he's so smitten with Holly, he decides to go along with this bachelor idea, and obviously it gets really awkward because she's setting up the dates. She has to be there to kind of notate the dates, and he's going on all of these dates while they have this romance budding. This one is definitely more slow burn. It's not super steamy for Max Monroe if you've read their books before, but I loved it so much. I thought it was really funny. Jake is either ex-Navy or ex-Marines, and he was real fine. He liked to go surfing and swimming in the ocean, things like that. And Holly was a little more klutzy. She was a lot of fun, and I thought they were really, really cute together. And I loved Jake's daughter as well, and she definitely helped sell this story. The next one I have to talk about is Happily Letter After by Vi Keeland and Penelope Ward. I love this author duo, and this was no exception. Our 2 main characters are Sadie and Sebastian. Sadie writes a column for a magazine during the holidays called like Dear Santa, and this little girl named Birdie keeps writing into her who's lost her mother. And Sadie feels really connected to Birdie because she also lost her mother when she was very young. And so even though it's well past Christmas, Birdie keeps writing to her and she keeps responding and completing these little tasks for her because Birdie thinks it's her mom doing it. I think that's how it goes. And she ends up on Birdie's doorstep, and when the guy opens the door, it is Sebastian, who is Birdie's dad, and he thinks that she is the dog trainer for their brand new like Great Dane puppy. And she lies and says that she is, and so she kind of gets hired on the misconception that she is a dog trainer, and a romance forms between them. And I loved Birdie in this story so much. She was such a cute little girl, and there was a couple twists and turns that happened in this story that I wasn't expecting at all. Definitely had an emotional edge to it. Sebastian harbored a lot of pain in regard to his wife's passing and being a single father, and I really loved Sadie as she stepped into the role of kind of a surrogate mother to Birdie. And Vi Keeland and Penelope Ward did not fail in making me shed a tear. They always happen to do that, and I definitely recommend if you are looking to shed some tears. Then I have Stirred by Charity Farrell. This is about Noah and Jamie. Noah is a single dad to his son. When he had his son years ago, his girlfriend kind of just walked out and decided she didn't want to be a mom, so he's raised this little boy on his own. And one day he goes into the ER because his son is sick, and their doctor happens to be his ex-girlfriend's sister, Jamie, who is his son's aunt. Jamie really wants to be a part of her nephew's life, and she really wants to be there for him. Noah decides to let her be a part of his life, even though he is hesitant, and a romance develops between them. They definitely have a forbidden romance because she's the sister of the child's mother, and there's a lot of drama that is involved. So if you like stories with a good bit of drama, I think you would really enjoy this. Overall, it was just a really good light read, and I would definitely recommend it. And then we have Never Enough by Kelly Elliott. This is a cowboy romance set in Montana. Our 2 main characters are Brock and Lincoln. Brock is a bull rider. His family owns a ranch in Montana. He has a little son named Blaze, who's I think about 6 years old, and his wife died during childbirth, so he's raised the son by himself along with his family. And so he's really busy with his bull riding, and when he's not bull riding, he's with his son or helping out at the ranch. And Lincoln is coming from Georgia. She moves to Montana for a fresh start. She buys Brock's old house off of the Shaw property. She decides to like redecorate and fix it up, and that's how her and Brock meet. And the 2 of them get totally off on the wrong foot. He really doesn't like her, and she's taken aback by his nasty attitude, but of course it's a romance between the 2 of them, kind of enemies to lovers. She really falls in love with Blaze. He's a real cute guy, and I love the Shaw family, so Brock's family is really great. And that's something that I love about small town romances, is the families and the sense of community. And you get to see the other brothers in that family in the subsequent books. The last one that I have is Room for Us by L.M. Halloran. And the two main characters in this are Zoe and Ethan. Zoe is recently divorced and her aunt has just passed away and left her the inn that she has, I think in like Idaho. So she decides that this is a great time for a fresh start. So she moves to Idaho and decides to try and fix up this inn because it's kind of in disarray. One of her first customers is Ethan. He is an author, a best-selling author actually, and he needs some inspiration to write. So he comes to Idaho for the summer and he rents the whole inn for that whole summer. So they're kind of forced to be together and they definitely get off on the wrong foot. He's a grump and she doesn't really understand why he has such a bad attitude. And the two of them spend a lot of time together in this inn, and their romance is definitely quiet and on the slower side, but the author writes emotion so well that I felt really connected to both of the characters, and I even shed a few tears just because she explained emotions really well and I connected a lot to it. But yeah, I would definitely recommend this. It is a quieter, older romance. The two characters are a little bit older. He has a daughter. He has a great relationship with his ex-wife, and their co-parenting relationship is goals. And so it's a great example of a healthy co-parenting relationship. So I definitely recommend this. I don't hear anyone talking about it, and I think it's really underrated. So those are 5 single dad romances that I have to recommend. Let me know your guys' favorite single dad romances. I am always looking for new recommendations. As always, I will link all of these down below, and I will see you guys on my next one. Bye.